Hey, welcome to the Melancholy Guy, a companion podcast to my Tumblr blog, The Melancholy Guy, daring to be black, open, and free. Oh, the adventures of a divorced, open, polyamorous African American male. I am the Melancholy Guy, Calvin, or CPJR if you know me. And today, definitely, I know that change I must or die I will. Hey, welcome to my podcast, my little podcast that is a companion podcast to my Tumblr blog, The Melancholy Guy, which can be found at melancholyguy.tumblr.com. And this podcast is basically, like I said, a companion to my Tumblr blog. And my Tumblr blog is basically about my adventures and my life as I went from being monogamous to being non-monogamous. That's how I completely live now. Some would say polyamorous. I kind of shy away from that now, just saying polyamorous because I'm not in a relationship, or I have relationships, but I'm not in any significant romantic relationships. So I shy away from that title polyamorous, only because I know for a fact that I'm non-monogamous. I could definitely be, and I prefer to be in a fully polyamorous relationship, but I'm open to other things such as relationship anarchy, maybe, well, not really a don't ask, don't tell type relationship, but different styles of non-monogamy. I'm open to those. So I don't like to just say polyamorous because that seems to be a bit too much. That's why I like to say non-monogamous, ethically non-monogamous. I know I use the term polyamorous right now. It's a buzzword. I think it's the closest thing we have to explain who we are and how we live. I think people understand that title, but like I said, if you've been in it for a while, you'll see how it can be quite constraining, to say the least. So anyway, so welcome back. Like I said, so I'm still doing my little 15-minute mini podcast. Those should change. And I think I last left off, I was talking about how I see poly today. And before that, I had just started going into swinging. So I'm going to go back to that now. And we're going to start swinging 101. So basically, this is episode 18. It's going to be ethical non-monogamy dash swinging 101. Welcome to swinging. So I want to talk about basically what swinging is and how it fit into our lives, how we got into it, how we actually met people, and in the end actually formed community and got involved in the community before we left. We left because there's some limitations in swinging. Swinging is not about love or forming long-term relationships. Swinging is about the experiences of sex, mostly group sex. It's involving three or more people, sometimes three, four, sometimes full-blown orgies, parties, but it's not primarily about love and relationships. You won't find many people looking for that person that completes them. They're looking for, fun for now and sometimes a bit more. So I think for this episode and the next episode, I'm just going to talk about swinging 101. So actually, I do want to read from my blog first. This is an entry that I made back in 2012. February of 2012 actually, and I just had it up. Okay, so anyway, this was in February of 2012, and when I start actually talking about swinging, I'll probably start talking about it this week, and actually continue talking about it probably for the next two shows, and I'll talk about how the shows are gonna go from this point on. With me working, I'm gonna have to spread them out more. And then probably in the next couple weeks, they're going to lengthen because I'm going to definitely, like I said, increase my plan at Spreaker, and I'm going to start doing longer podcasts, maybe online. So maybe about 30, 45 minutes. Anyway, so I wrote this back in February 12th on my blog. Why I wrote it, I do not know. So anyway, the entry is entitled, So Why, Who Cares Anyway? I guess that I should address the reason that I'm blogging my experiences in this non-monogamy lifestyle. Well, I believe that the main reason for all this writing is to hopefully give other people out there in the world the words that I didn't have until now. If I had a word like polyamory when I was in high school, I would have been a polyamorist. I actually was a polyamorist. I just didn't know that fact. I never had one girlfriend for long. Some knew that fact, others did not. I was not in a constant pursuit of sex. I liked having multiple real relationships. I liked falling in love. People need to know that it's all right to not want monogamy. It's all right to not want monogamy. I had to be dragged into it, my first marriage by religion. I never wanted to get married, but they kept telling me that it was better to marry than to burn. I married and I was trapped. I could no longer have women friends. I was constantly questioned about any female names I dropped by my first wife. And I put in quotes, who is she exactly? I'll talk about it in a minute. I was dead, and I revolted. It was not a pretty ending. It's okay to be yourself. Don't let them, society, attempt to mold you into something that you are not. And that's this. Like I said, I wrote this back in February of 2012, and this was a constant thing that was in me when I was in my first marriage. I couldn't have friends. It was a definite. She must have knew something and knew that I wasn't built for monogamy because it was a constant. She was constantly watching me and was definitely constantly concerned about me cheating. And we actually separated and we got back together. And after that, maybe about like year 8, year 9, I did cheat. But before that, it was mostly just friends. I didn't even think about cheating. I was very much in the church, very much a Christian, but I had to have friends on the side. That's the emotional intimacy that I've been talking about. So essentially, I wrote this, like I said, in February 12. We had already started swinging. As you can see, my mindset was still into polyamory, but I was still, at that time, pursuing the swinging lifestyle. And so, for that, now how we got into swinging is interesting. The first thing I did, I was the one that like I said, got us into swinging. I'm the one that went out and looked for the on-ramp into the swinging lifestyle. What I did was I found websites. There's websites actually. If you type, I don't know if you can. I'm not gonna do a Google search for you, but you could do a Google search. There's 2 websites that we primarily were on. One was called Black Swingers Club, and the other one was called Swing Lifestyle, SLS, Swing Lifestyle. And we were actually on the Black Swingers Club first. It was actually called something else, and it turned into Black Swingers Club. Neither one of these sites are free. You have to pay, which makes sense because people want to keep their identity secret. Swinging, like I said, it's there, but it's not there. When you get onto these sites, you'll see there's a number of people involved. Like Black Swingers Club is all black. SLS or Swing Lifestyle is mixed, primarily white. And the thing I like about Swing Lifestyle is it's a bit more tied to clubs, and they have a lot more outings and groups that you can belong to. Um, Black Swingers Club is just like Black's Facebook for swingers. Um, it's well, actually no, it used to be. I think they changed it. It used to be a little bit more like Facebook, but they changed it, and it's now it got to be more about searching. But there's also um, it used to be just like Facebook, a feed. People were posting what they were doing. People were posting about meetups and what they're doing this weekend and all type of things like that. And you basically have, who you were. Are you a couple? And this is something that you need to do before you get into swinging. So basically, if you're single, you need to find out what you're looking for. If you're a single male, there's actually a place for you. If you're a single female, there's definitely a place for you. As if you're a bi female at that. And if you're a couple, you and your wife need to sit down and have a conversation. So how do you do that? There's actually some podcasts out there. Um, the podcast that I listened to first was Life on the Swing Set. That's actually on Stitcher. They actually have a website to swingset.com, or just look for Life on the Swing Set. There was actually an older podcast that's still out there. It's called Swingercast. Then there's this couple that used to do a podcast called The Swapfoos, SWAPFUS. And what I like about The Swapfoos is they actually was a couple that really went into how their dynamics worked. And they talked about openly how they met people, how they swing. And they were real swingers. So basically, if you ever want to just have a voyeur type of ear and want to hear how real swingers talk, I would suggest listening to Swapfoo or Swingercast. Like these are two couples that actually talked about their life, their experiences as swingers, and it gives you a very in-depth. Oh, I'm down to 2 minutes. Okay, so we'll continue this again next week. I can't wait to get these longer because I'm definitely getting into the meat. So basically, I want to talk about life now. So basically, I started my new job. I'm basically working every day now, all day. So I have to really balance out, work life, podcasting, things like that, and making plans for the year, travel plans. I'm back and building this podcast and this podcast studio. So I have to balance my time out. I wish I had more time. I'll be back, like I said, probably next Friday, and we'll definitely just pick up right there with Swinging 101 and just go on from there. I definitely want to talk about this. One reason that is because, like I said, swinging is a valid form of ethical non-monogamy, and some couples are definitely built for that life, and if you are, you should definitely pursue it, and you should pursue it with full knowledge and as healthy as possible. So I'm gonna definitely talk about it. We had some great dynamics. I'm out of time. So, and we had definitely some drama and some bad times too. So always remember to love and respect yourself first, and everything else will take care of itself. Peace, namaste, and see you next week. Peace.